Hello,
Hey,
Paula.
Peter.
We're sorry about that. Matthew's here helping me. We haven't done Instagram Live for a while, so we were just working out how to get back on. So all good,
Oh,
all
well, I
good.
was there for I'm sort of looking at it for a minute. I'm thinking it was Instagram, wasn't it? It wasn't Facebook, and I'm going, oh no, I wonder what it is. I wonder what it is.
No, we're all good. We're all good. So
Oh,
hi everyone. Hi everyone. Peter Muller's
hi,
here, and welcome to tonight's Instagram Live with a good friend of mine, Paula Hibbard. Hello, Paula.
hi, Peter.
Now, Paula is a national and international long hair stylist educator and one of the most respected and loved persons in the hairdressing industry. That was from our friend Faye Murray gave you that rap.
She's a beautiful person. She really is.
Now, Paula, running your own training company, spending your days traveling nationally and internationally, delivering training to salons and groups. You're someone that is in the limelight a lot. You're up on stage, you're presenting. Now, something a lot of people might not know about you is that you've had your challenges with anxiety over these years.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's okay with you, I thought we'd have a bit of a chat tonight about your dealings with anxiety, where you think it might have come from,
Yeah.
some of the triggers, and particularly what are some of the things that you do to help you cope and to be living a happy and successful life. Living with anxiety.
Yeah. Great. Excellent.
So, just for starters, so what are you actually up to at the moment from a work point of view?
Um, well, it's actually a bit crazy because I've just finished working on Dancing with the Stars, so that's been pretty full on. And the blessing is that I was able to do that through COVID, through our lockdown. So and there was a couple of sort of photo shoots, but really apart from that, we haven't been able to do much at all. I've had a couple of friends that are fairly desperate for haircuts, but other than that, because, hairdressers are going full pelt at the moment, as you can only imagine. But other than that, I'm actually just enjoying taking some time out, which is good.
It has been a bit of forced time out, hasn't it, for all of us, I think, through these times.
Yeah.
Just with the anxiety, you've had anxiety for a long time. When did you first notice or realize that you were starting to get symptoms of anxiety?
I think my first kind of touch with anxiety was when I was in, like, I think it was probably, I want to say year 9 or 10 at high school,
Okay.
and they make you do, well, they didn't have to, but they did. They made you get up and do those like 1 minute um, speeches, and they would just give you a topic and they'd say, okay, we just want you to talk on that. And I remember being asked to get up, and I remember just standing up there, being absolutely blank, bursting into tears and running out of the room. And so that was probably my earliest thing of my,
Recollection.
yeah, recollection of it really being hit home. The second thing was it then hit me one time. I just didn't want to go to work. I just said to my husband one Christmas, I'm managing a salon, and I just went, you know what? I actually can't. I can't go. I can't go back. I can't go back. I can't go back. And I ended up having to take 2 weeks off. The anxiety for me comes in sort of kind of strange ways sometimes, but very ways that other people obviously get it as well. Like you go, oh, I can't go out, or I don't want to see anybody. I think COVID has probably heightened that. And with talking with many people this week that go through anxiety, it's hard for us now at this time
Mm.
because we've been shut up for now over 100 days, what it was, and to now be thrown into, you've got to go out into the general public, and well, you don't have to, but you can go out in the general public now. I don't want to. I find it a challenge with that. So
Yeah. Okay.
anxiety has probably come back in the face a bit more now.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of kids that I see that struggle with anxiety, it's transition times is where they have trouble, like starting back to the new school year.
Mm.
So I imagine it's
Mm-hmm.
a bit the same for a lot of people with anxiety coming out of lockdown. It's a little bit like, coming back out into the stresses and the everyday is going to heighten that anxiety for sure. So it's a really good point, actually, that a lot of people with anxiety really might be hesitant to get back out and get back into being busy and, you know, dealing with everything that happens in normal life. Where do you think, thinking back, like, so you've had anxiety since you were a youngster, any thoughts with you, like where do you think your anxieties come from? Any thoughts around?
Look, it's hard to know where it came from, and I couldn't like pinpoint reasons. You know, look, some might say, oh, you know, my mum worked a lot and we had to get home by ourselves and, you know, that sort of thing. But then I go, well, I'm kind of grateful for that because we learn a whole heap of other things from that. Was it, look, Peter, I don't think I can. I think it's actually something I believe that mentally is something that I have. And when I came to the realization that it was something that I had, then I learned how to deal with it. And that was a good thing. Yeah.
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 What I, pardon me, what I've sort of noticed over time is, because it's a big challenge, like, you know, I think the big epidemic or pandemic for me at the moment is all around anxiety and mental health. There's so much going on. And for me, you know, often I've seen when someone presents with anxiety, like a young lady or a young guy, I'm seeing more young guys with anxiety, often there's a bit of a family history. So does your mum or dad have anxiety that you're aware of? Or?
Yeah, I reckon my mum has anxiety. My dad has never been someone who is very big in public. So does he have it? I'm not 100% sure. But my eldest had it. So and that was really hard. Like that was hard for me, seeing him go through stuff that was daunting. You know, I remember Graham dropping me off to a work function, and Jack was in the car, and he just wouldn't leave me. The whole idea of me not coming back in the car with them was just something he couldn't deal with, and he just was in tears, and he was just really anxious and was horrible. So I think it is. I actually think it's something that, sadly, I don't know whether it gets passed down gene-wise or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's something. I think it's a bit scary.
Well, I definitely think for a lot of people there is that predisposition there towards why someone can develop anxiety and someone else might not. For me, also, obviously, then,
Well, I think the anxiety too, like I know for me, you know, as you said, I get on stage, I talk to thousands of people, or I'll go and do something, and you know, I can do that, and it's just like my second nature. It's like my second thing. I feel really super comfortable in it. However, you know, I get anxious at the moment going to Aldi, like, because I'm just like, there's this thing out there that is kind of totally out of my control, of my control. And I don't have control over those that are around me either. So that is, I must admit, and I have to say, I feel anxious about what's ahead. But, you know, that's, it's just one of those things.
I think that's really interesting. I think, so a trigger for you is, for your anxiety, is things that are out of your control. Because a lot of people that get anxiety, I find, are also often perfectionists.
Yes.
You know, they do try to be a control freaks was a word someone used, or but they are people that really like to feel like they're in control of things. And but that high perfectionist, like really high expectations of yourself and that sort of thing. So so interesting that you can get up on stage and present in hundreds and thousands of people. However, you know, going to the supermarket where things are out of your control, or who you might come in contact with. So I think that's a really important step, is to understand what your triggers are for anxiety. Now, so the other contributing factors I often think about, so family history, obviously life events, you know, trauma and things that can happen, you know, even from when we're little. And I think a big one for me these days is, what I'm seeing is a lot of people that have that, we used to call it stress type A personalities, or they're highly strung, or they're always, you know, running off that adrenaline or nervous energy. It's that sense of prolonged stress that sort of we all live with these days as well, where we're just turned on all the time.
And that is a big thing. Like, and I find, particularly when you're in a public, like, I'm not a public figure, but when you are in public all the time, and if I'm doing a day in the salon, or I'm with a bride, or that sort of thing, I have to be on from the moment it's my stage. So whether that stage be in front of 1,000 people, or whether that stage be 6 bridesmaids and a bride and the mother of the bride, or whether that be that I'm working in a salon or I'm on a photo shoot or whatever, people want me to be. They don't expect anything. They don't expect me to have an anxiety attack. They don't expect me to be anything other than Paula Hibbard, who's just like, yay. So it's I think that coming out of this is going to be hard for people, you know, not just me as well, you know. It's hard.
So what do you do? Like you're living with anxiety, like you're 2 beautiful kids, married to Graham. What's really helped you cope with anxiety or understand yourself better?
One of the things that helps me cope is exercise. I have to exercise every day. It's really, really important to me. And whether that just be going for a walk or going to the gym or whatever, it needs to happen. And when it doesn't happen, like days like today, I mentally am thrown by that, where I just go, you know, you didn't get out, you didn't go to the gym, you didn't do anything. So then that creates its own little world of, you know, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put on weight, or like, you know, like, and I mean, I haven't been to the gym for one day, like, get over it, you know. The other things I have to say, Peter, and I will tell you this verbatim. I mean, I know we're going to have this conversation, so anybody who's watching, there is going to be something after that we're going to put out there, which is great. But I've done the Healthy Habits Challenge that you introduced me to, and that's come with not only helping me with my health, but honestly, I'm sleeping at night. If I don't sleep, that is not good. I now sleep through the night. I don't need melatonin at the moment, and haven't
That's
done.
fantastic.
Change the food that I'm eating, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I feel fresher, I feel brighter. I also talk a lot, Pete. As you can tell, I do like to talk.
I hadn't noticed, really.
So I like to talk, and so getting on the phone to girlfriends is my biggest thing. Like, talking is like
just that support.
And
I think that's a really good point. So recognizing your triggers, you know, and recognizing maybe that your nervous system, you're always going to be a bit maybe sensitive towards developing anxiety, maybe because of family history, early childhood. Recognizing what your triggers are and trying to do your best to sort of work around that. But I love those, you know, exercise, as you said. Sleep for me is a classic. Like, all of my patients with anxiety, you know, I say, well, the first thing we have to work on, I believe sleep possibly is more important even than diet and exercise in some respects when we talk about mental health. So getting the sleep pattern sorted, like whether sleep's a causative factor or one of the symptoms of anxiety. So really working on that. And I love that, getting that support, ringing girlfriends, and realizing that, you know, we can't get all of our support just from one person. Like, we'd like our partner to be the you know, the person that we go to for everything, but you need your girlfriends, and you need your older friends, or your mother, or, you know, we need that range of support people.
Absolutely, Peter. And sometimes guys just don't get it. I'm sorry, I love you, but you know, they just don't get it. You know, like, and so just having your girlfriend there to just be able to talk to, and I think too, the other thing for me, Pete, was being far more open. You know, probably 15 years ago, there's no way I would have stood, you know, sat here and done something and talked about my anxiety. I just wouldn't have done that. Whereas now I go, you know what? If I talk about it, then that means that someone else goes, hey, you know what? She's actually normally pretty good. She normally looks like she's actually got it together. you don't necessarily, you can look like you got it together, but doesn't mean you have it together all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And Paula, just before we finish up, if you had your time over again, is there anything you do differently? I know that's a bit of a challenging question when it comes to anxiety and where you are. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think
Anything you might have
yes,
done more
there are
of, or done less of? Or?
absolutely. So there's two things that I would have done. One, I would find a hobby. I don't have one, and in every psychological chat that I've actually had, it has been having, what's your hobby? I don't have one. I don't have one. I'm thinking of taking up dancing, but anyway, because my friend Faye does tap, but I'm not doing tap. Don't anybody think I'm not doing tap dancing. But I don't have a hobby. The other thing that I would do is actually just make more time for myself. So just being aware that I need to go, okay, guess what, Paula, take that time and just nourish yourself a little bit more. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Paula. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody listening has got some really good tips. And as you said, it's normalizing this whole concept around anxiety, because it is a condition that, you know, when you're struggling, like you can feel embarrassed. You can feel that people will think that you're not coping. So I think talking about it definitely helps to normalize it, and the more discussions we have. So thank you. Thank you so much, as always.
Thank you so much.
And we'll talk to you real soon.
Look forward to it. Bye, guys.